A while back, I did a video about one of the Third Reich's Wunderweapons, the Messerschmitt 262, the first jet fighter in history. That video was about a massive complex built into the ground with a giant concrete arch over it, some of which still exists today, at least partially. That facility was intended to mass produce the Messerschmitt 262, giving Germany a huge upper hand in the air war, critical to their offensive ambitions and their defensive necessities. Another Wunderweapon is the V2, the first ever long-range ballistic missile, a technological breakthrough that combined devastating military potential with the foundation for future space exploration. These weapons created terror in London and southeastern England, making their neutralization a critical Allied objective. Here, in what was occupied France, German engineers planned an integrated missile infrastructure combining manufacturing, assembly, and launch capabilities. Two major facilities, La Coupole and Blockhaus de Derelict, were designed as comprehensive missile bases capable of sustained attacks on British targets, particularly London. Their goal was to fire as many as 36 V2s into England per day each. As time went on, that focus of terrorizing the Allies changed into forcing them into favorable peace terms, and eventually just outright desperation by the Reich. The V2 program emerged from German rocket research beginning in the 1930s under Wernher von Braun's leadership. Originally called the A4, the weapon was later redesignated as Vergeltungswaffe II for propaganda purposes. Following devastating Allied bombing of German cities, particularly the firestorm raids on Hamburg during summer 1943, the Mustache Man demanded accelerated development of retaliatory weapons. The V2's revolutionary capabilities made it nearly unstoppable once airborne, reaching heights of 88 kilometers before plummeting towards targets at speeds exceeding 3,500 kilometers per hour. These missiles arrived without warning and couldn't be intercepted by existing defensive systems. German military planners recognized that conventional launch sites remained vulnerable to Allied air power. The TOT organization developed plans for fortified launch complexes along the French coast, with La Coupole serving as the primary installation under the designation Bauvorhaben 21. Work commenced in September 1943 following careful site selection. The location offered multiple advantages: positioning within missile range of London, excellent rail connections to Germany, and an abandoned chalk quarry providing both building materials and natural protection. The project relied heavily on forced labor from approximately 1,300 workers, including conscripted French civilians and concentration camp prisoners. These individuals endured brutal 12-hour shifts with minimal sustenance while living in primitive nearby camps. German security measures included strict movement restrictions and camouflage efforts to conceal construction from aerial reconnaissance. The facility's centerpiece was an enormous reinforced concrete dome measuring 71 meters across and with a thickness of 5.5 meters, weighing approximately 55,000 tons. Beneath this construction, an intricate tunnel network extended over 7 kilometers into the hillside, arranged in a figure-8 configuration. The complex featured distinct operational areas: northern sections for missile assembly and direct rail delivery access, and southern zones containing launch preparation areas, fuel storage for volatile liquid oxygen and alcohol propellants, and sophisticated ventilation systems. Advanced features included massive blast doors, internal narrow-gauge railways for rocket transport, heavy-duty cranes, and comprehensive air filtration systems. Technical specifications revealed plans for dual launch pads beneath retractable dome sections, allowing vertical missile deployment without exposing the facility. Additional amenities included quarters for 250 technical staff, power generation facilities, water treatment systems, and command centers with direct communication links to Berlin. While La Coupole progressed, construction had already begun at Blockhaus de Derelict in March 1943. Located near Saint-Omer in the Epperlex forest, this facility operated under codename Kraftwerk Nordwest. The site's positioning balanced operational requirements with security concerns, close enough to London for effective missile strikes, while remaining beyond naval artillery range. The installation was designed for impressive capacity, with storage for over 100 missiles with launch capability of up to 36 missiles per day. Like La Coupole, the facility would integrate liquid oxygen production with a fortified railway terminal for receiving missiles and supplies from German manufacturing centers. Both facilities utilize similar workforce arrangements, incorporating German specialists alongside conscripted French workers and prisoners of war from multiple nations including Belgium, Netherlands, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and the Soviet Union. The labor force included French political prisoners and Spanish Republicans who had fled to France following Franco's victory in Spain. Workers at Deep Bear Lake lived in guarded communities about 2 kilometers from the work site. Despite German camouflage attempts, Allied reconnaissance flights detected activity in the woods, leading to the discovery of the facility and its subsequent targeting. Hey, I just wanted to take a quick second to thank the sponsor of today's video, you. I might be a one-man band when it comes to the channel itself, but without you participating, the channel doesn't really go anywhere. So if you enjoy the video, all I ask is that you hit the like button. And if you really want to help the channel, just scroll down and leave a controversial comment that will spark some unhinged conversation in the comments section. For some reason, YouTube loves that. Alright, thanks again. Now back to the video. Allied intelligence services identified these facilities through multiple sources: specialized Spitfire reconnaissance aircraft, French resistance networks, and intercepted German communications. As the installation purposes became clear, Allied commanders designated them priority targets under Operation Crossbow, the campaign against German vengeance weapons. The first attack on Blockhaus derelict occurred in August 1943 using B-17 Flying Fortress bombers. Allied planners timed the strike to hit fresh concrete, causing the liquid mixture to spread and harden regularly, rendering large sections unusable. At the time of the bombing, Allied intelligence was still unsure of the blockhaus's exact purpose. La Coupole faced 16 separate bombing missions between March and July 1944, involving over 800 aircraft and more than 4,000 tons of conventional explosives. Early raids targeted railway connections to isolate the site, while later attacks focused on the dome structure itself. However, standard bombing proved ineffective against this massive reinforced concrete structure. Following initial damage at the blockhaus, German engineers developed innovative protective techniques. They created an extremely thick concrete shell and used an incremental lifting method dubbed the tortoise technique. This approach utilized a 16-foot protective barrier roof, weighing tens of thousands of tons. As one layer of the facility was completed, the immense shield would be raised so another layer could be started. 200,000 tons of concrete and steel would be set underneath the shell, demonstrating German determination to complete the projects despite Allied opposition. Both sites endured repeated attacks. The blockhaus suffered 25 bombing missions between 1943 and 1944. The persistence of these campaigns reflected Allied recognition of the facility's potential threat to British civilian morale and military operations. Allied aircraft were lost on almost every mission, and German anti-air defenses were formidable along the coast closest to the North Sea. Conventional bombing having failed, the Americans transitioned to a new experimental bomb developed by the British engineer Barnes Wallis. These Tallboy bombs, also known as earthquake bombs, were first used to attack the facility in July of 1944. Unlike standard explosives that detonated on impact, Tallboys penetrated deep underground before exploding, creating localized seismic effects. The hardened steel casing could breach significant depths of soil or concrete before their massive explosive charges detonated. The Tallboy attacks proved decisive. At La Coupole, bombs striking near the dome created underground shock waves that collapsed tunnel sections and cracked the main structure. Similar attacks on the blockhaus caused irreparable damage, effectively ending both facilities' operational potential. Following the successful Normandy landings and rapid Allied advances across France, German forces faced mounting pressure. By August of 1944, the Führer authorized withdrawal of construction personnel, though initially hoping for future reoccupation. SS General Hans Kammler, overseeing the V-weapons program, ordered systematic removal of specialized equipment and technical documentation. German engineers dismantled and transported critical components back to Germany throughout August of 1944. The last German personnel abandoned both installations in early September 1944, just hours before Canadian forces liberated the region. Allied troops discovered extensive demolition charges that remained undetonated, possibly due to hasty German retreat or sabotage by forced laborers. The failure to complete these fixed installations forced German forces to rely on mobile launch platforms for V-2 operations. While these mobile units proved more difficult to target, they operated far less efficiently than the intended fixed facilities would have achieved. From September 44 through March of 45, German forces launched V-2 attacks against London from mobile sites in the Netherlands, resulting in over 2,750 civilian deaths. A tragic toll that would likely have been much higher had the bombing campaigns not prevented the French installations from becoming operational. Following Germany's surrender, both facilities came under intensive Allied investigation. Specialized teams analyzed the installation's technical aspects, as well as their strategic usage, gathering valuable intelligence on German rocket and missile technology and their construction techniques. Allied research also determined that had these protected sites gone into full operation, casualties in the area around London could have exceeded 10,000 per month, which may have undermined the morale of both military and civilian Brits, potentially leading to a ceasefire with Germany rather than an invasion of the continent. The Germans also knew this, and in paperwork discovered after the end of the war, the armaments minister, Albert Speer, had assigned these projects as priority, which guaranteed them preferential allocation to the limited materials and labor used for Reich construction. This post-war investigation period coincided with intense competition between Allied powers to acquire German rocket expertise. The American Operation Paperclip successfully recruited over 100 German rocket scientists, including Werner von Braun, while Soviet operations forcibly relocated other German specialists to the USSR. Near these missile installations, German forces also constructed the Mimojet complex housing the experimental V-3 supergun. This extraordinary weapon featured 127-meter-long barrels designed to fire shells at London using sequential explosive charges along the barrel length in order to fire a bullet-like projectile at unprecedented velocities. The V-3 installation consisted of underground tunnels connected to 5 inclined shafts that would have housed 25 superguns capable of firing 600 shells hourly at the British capital. Like these missile facilities, Tallboy bombing in July 1944 caused catastrophic damage, collapsing tunnels and entombing hundreds of workers. And on that gloomy note, let me recommend the video that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the one about the large arch complex meant to mass produce the Messerschmitt 262. You can check that out here. Or check out this video on the secret North Sea towers meant to shoot all of these things down. Thanks as always for watching, and until next time, get lost.